Welcome back to the podcast, folks. This week's episode is sponsored by Ultimate Add-ons. Ultimate Add-ons are the premium manufacturer of mobile phone and action camera mounting solutions for motorcycles. With a kit for any bike and a proven track record of creating products that keep your devices safe, secure and easily accessible, the Ultimate Add-ons product range is ideal for any rider from the commuter to the round-the-world adventurer. I've been round the world, you know. Why shell out on an expensive GPS system when you could use your smartphone, keeping it charged and within reach to take photos of your travels at the same time? Ultimate Add-ons waterproof, shockproof and dustproof tough cases are available for all flagship smartphone models and are designed by riders for riders. Find out why Ride Magazine gives Ultimate Add-ons their coveted Best Buy certification. Keep riding this winter with Ultimate Add-ons. It's all about the journey. Okay, folks, on to this week's episode 29. It's the Chasin the Racin lads, Chrissy Rouse and Dom Herbertson. I hope you enjoy this one, folks. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Right then, lads, you ready to rumble?
Ready to go.
Right, folks, we are here in the Chasin the Racin Studio, shall we call it?
No, I want to know before you put those words in your mouth. What were you going to call this?
I was going to say trailer, and then I thought, no, I'm trying to think the epicentre, the hub. That's what I'm thinking.
You smooth-bearded twat. There you go. Can we all done? I was about to say, before we get on with this interview, what are the house rules? Do we know what the house rules are?
What, swearing?
Swearing.
Fill your boots, whatever you like.
Fill your boots. Fantastic,
I edit
right.
nothing out unless, unless we come up with something horrendous that can't be put on air.
I'll tell you what, you're a man of experience, aren't you? I can see your eyes fluttering there going, don't say this, don't say that. Whatever you do, don't say this.
Do you think I'd have had you on if I was worried about that? Don't worry about
it. On our podcast, it kind of works how Dom says things that need editing out, and then it's my job to edit them out. So
yeah, we actually put a lot of editing in, actually giving Chrissy some crack about himself as well. So it's a good team effort. It's all about a good team effort. There we go.
Right, folks, if which camera am I looking at? I'll look at this one. If you haven't yet guessed, we've got Dom and Chrissy here from Chasin the Racin. If for whatever reason you've not checked out that podcast, where the heck have you been? Gents, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Chrissy, congratulations on the Superstock's title.
Thank you very much.
Let's test your microphones here. This is a clap. This is a clap here. There we go. Fantastic. Last time I got the clap. Anyway, we're not going to go down that situation. There we go. A lot of relationships ruined on that.
I'm going to be earning my money on this one. If you don't know, folks, Chrissy is the sort of circuit racing racer and Dom is the lunatic that does the road racing. You are a TT veteran, I believe.
Now, to be fair, I would have been happy with just lunatic. Thank you for actually clearing that up for the old professionalism side of it. But no, Chrissy, obviously to my left here, has done an outstanding job this year.
Cracking season.
Obviously all your listeners be thinking if they haven't figured out what the hell he's done, they do need a wake up. Now, I've just insulted all your 50,000 subscribers, so let's go from there.
I guess a lot of your audience won't be predominantly like racing sort of.
It's a real mix. My audience, it really is. Yeah, there's a lot of race fans there, and then there's other people that have probably never even watched it on the TV. I'd imagine there's a real mix. I've got the adventure travel lot, and then I've got the racing lunatic.
It's one thing like when we're talking about things, you've always kind of got to consider who's listening and like how much, because you don't want to patronise somebody, but then you don't want to just be having like rabbiting on about something that someone has no idea about. So
I wouldn't worry. Anyone that's listening to this podcast will have an interest in racing, so they'll want to hear exactly how you talk and what you want to chat about.
See, the best thing about this whole motorcycle world that we're involved in, racing is only, quite frankly, a small part of it, isn't it? And your podcast actually fulfills that other side of the motorcycle and world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The whole actual enjoyment getting on a motorcycle. Me and him, we just get what kicks out of trying to beat each other. So
I was going to ask, do you ride on the road?
I do. You've just got your stabilisers kicked off.
I did my CVT last year.
Off.
No, I
Seriously?
did my CVT, but I never then followed it up with getting a bike or anything. So,
right.
But I've actually had a few times recently where I've thought I would absolutely love just to get out on like a Sunday afternoon or whatever.
Yeah.
I am. It's definitely happening this year. I'm going to do my test.
Awesome.
Also, I'm getting a. Well, it's technically my dad's bike, but we've kind of got a rule which whatever's his is mine and whatever's mine's my own. And
not in my household.
He's got a KL1S 250, and it's been sat in the garage for like probably it like over 10 years without being switched on, and like just eroding away and whatever. So this winter we've just put it in to get fully restored.
Right.
So I shouldn't be telling you this with you being a copper, but I used to ride that bike on the road when I was about 10-year-old. We used to go up on the moors.
It wouldn't have bothered me when I was a copper.
By the way, this could be a sting operation, Chrissy.
Yeah,
I had no idea about podcasts before you invited me on this one.
You boys really don't know me, do you?
Oh God,
So we used to go up where we live in the northeast. You've obviously got like the city and stuff, but then if you go in the middle, like in the middle of the country, it's just moors, like all the way to the Lake District.
Yeah.
So we'd go up there and find like roads where there was nobody there, and my dad would sit on the back and let me ride it. So it's always been like a massive thing that I want to tick off the bucket list, to get it restored and to maybe do some parade laps, or even to maybe do some classic racing. So but I'll definitely be getting my license soon. Definitely.
How's that going to work? Being like, because you're a young lad and being a new rider, your insurance will be sky high, won't it? Especially when you tell what you do for a living. Well, not a living, but
hopefully that'll change for the lad. But like you say, that will be a difficult situation with Direct Line. How many points you got? 0. What do you do for a living? Race motorcycles. Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone.
Oh, Jesus. I tell you what,
it's a Burnett Field Durham.
It feels so weird being sat here like in our studio and like you sort of getting questions rather. We're usually asking questions. One thing just before we started recording, we're obviously talking about the police connection, and you were saying how things, and I was trying to quickly get Dom up to, because I've watched some of your videos and stuff, but I was trying to get Dom up to speed.
Walking in smoking a joint.
Who would like a line of bifter?
And the Met, and then like leaving and all that. And you were just about to tell us about live your life, because it's perfect. It's perfect for coronavirus, like a slogan for this time with coronavirus.
Yeah, it's never been more apt, really, is it?
But have you had that for a long time?
Yeah, it's like all my lot will be sick of this, because it always comes up. But basically, my mum, bless her, passed away from cancer back in 2008. And she'd been fighting it for almost 10 years, and then in the last year I moved her in. Basically, my mum got the 5-year all clear, so my folks decided to emigrate to Spain, bit of good life. And then whilst they were out there, mum's cancer came back, so she kept having to come back to the UK for treatment. And then the last time she came back, it wasn't going particularly well, so I moved her in with me rather than her staying in like a B&B type place for 6 months or whatever. I had a flat by then, so I said, come and stay with me. So while she was living with me, she was getting more and more unwell. Sadly, she wasn't reacting well to the treatment, and we used to spend a lot of time just chatting. When I wasn't working, we'd just be at home watching the telly and stuff. And one day, Long Way Round came on the TV, the Ewan McGregor thing.
Yeah.
And I'd seen it all before. I'd seen all that long time before when it first came out. And I was moaning to my mum, just saying, it's all right for them, A-list celebs, all that money, blah, 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 blah. And my mum just turned round and she said, you've always wanted to ride a bike, you've never done it. You've always spoke about travel, you've never done it. Yeah, I didn't ride a bike at that point.
No, sorry, I'm trying to get a timeline on that. So, I know we should never ask the interviewer what his age is, but what age were you when this happened then?
What, 2008?
Yeah.
32. 32
then. So there we go. So at this point, you've never been on a motorcycle, never got your license,
I'd never done it.
Nothing.
No, I just never done it. I'd always wanted to, but I'd never done it. Believe it or not, ironically, growing up, my mum and dad were always anti-bikes, so I'd never done it. But then as it turned out, it was my mum that kick-started it all, and she just said, you've never done all that. Don't get to my stage where you face the end and you regret what you've not done. Look after those that you love, but live your life. And literally,
slogan, that,
literally there and then it was like a light bulb, and I was like, right, fuck it, I'm doing this. So I booked my DAS, went and did that, passed my test. By that point, Mum had been admitted to a local hospice because she didn't want to pass away in my flat, so she went to a local hospice in Penge. I passed my bike test and picked up my brand new GSX-R 600 that I'd bought waiting for me at the dealership. So I rode that like a total newbie, 50 mile an hour, shitting myself, to the dealership, walked in my Power Ranger outfit and shook the keys and said to my mum, look, I've done it, I've passed my test. So she gave me a big hug, and then she sort of just said, make sure you do your trip. And 5 days later, she passed away. So it was like, right.
Never.
Yeah. So it was like, right, I'm doing it. So a couple of years, fast forward a few years, I'd done a bit of planning, and I left on her birthday, 2012. And That was it.
Fair play, that man.
But anyway, this isn't about my trip. Sorry.
We'll have to get you on our podcast to get you.
Oh, my lot will be fast asleep.
It's a couple of Geordie bellends, man. This is nothing. You've actually got some edge about you.
Oh, don't be daft.
I'm
Don't be
telling
daft.
you, there you go. A man who can carry a beard like that off has obviously got a hell of a story. Let's face it.
I didn't have the beard in those days. I'm a proper baby face underneath all this.
Was that part of being a GS owner?
With a beard. Yeah. And the rocker kits.
There you go. He started off life as 5'2" at 32, and he went out and get a leg extension on the joint. You can get them, Chrissy. I'm thinking about getting it done.
The amount of abuse I get for being a GS rider. I used to slag GS riders off because I did that. I did my trip on a Jigsaw Thou. And GSs were like the Antichrist.
You've said that several times now. I like you letting the people know. I'm a Jigsaw man.
I've got to get that in.
Do you know, everyone I know that's owned a GS is exactly the same thing. They've always thought... They've always looked down sort of dimly on GS owners, but as soon as you ride one, it just totally changes your opinion.
Yeah,
everyone said that.
It does, yeah. But anyway, please stay awake, my lot. Please stay awake. Right, Jeds, do you know how the format works on my podcast? How it all works?
I've watched it a bits and pieces, yeah.
Oh, you must have been bored.
I can't afford electricity bills, so I've never watched now.
Dom's never actually watched one of our podcasts.
No, I don't listen to podcasts, YouTube, nothing. You know what I do, son? I work for a living. So there you go. It's either in the woods or in my bed. Now, one of the biggest lessons I ever got taught in life, Chrissy, was there's two things you should buy right. A good mattress and a pair of boots, because you should be straight out of one, straight into the other. Sadly, that's why I have no social life, any social skills whatsoever, and quite frankly, I don't understand why you dragged me onto this show. But thank you very much. There you go. And now we're sitting opposite a Viking. So it's amazing how life turns on you.
How do I follow that? I'm not entirely sure how. Right, so let's move to you then, Dom, because
I'm boring. Let's go back to Chrissy.
You're the road racer.
Stock 1,000 cheap.
He is. Congratulations again. You're the road racer. And your job is you're a tree surgeon, arboriculturist. Is that what they're called?
That's pretty much. I like actually name myself as a bit more of a lumberjack, because let's face it, there's too many pikeys in this game that can call themselves tree surgeons.
Pikeys, is that caravan utilising nomadic travellers?
Well, no, they're gypsies and travelling folk, different category. No, what a pikey is a horrible little human being that robs old people of all their money.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. There's a huge category, isn't there? There's huge segregation in those situations. But anyway, I'm not a pikey, so no, I work mainly in the forestry industry. So I'm like a commercial felon. I've also got me arboricultural tickets as well, so I can climb trees, dismantle them, and all sorts. So basically, 16 went, Dominic, that's a job thick enough for you. I went, right, well, that
off you go.
Down to
get up there and chop that down.
That's pretty much it. And it's amazing how yet again we're going back to Chasin the Racin, Worlds Collide. We've got an educated, fast motorcycle rider, and then you've got, well, me. So a complete nugget.
Plays himself down, doesn't he?
Massively, yeah. Dom finds it really difficult to talk about himself, so he always tries to deflect.
In that case,
and he never, he's always pulls himself down, and he when he achieves
That's
something,
not me pants, by the way.
When he achieves something really good as well, which he regularly does, he. As soon as you get onto the conversation, he just turns it straight away. So I'm actually quite enjoying this, to be honest.
Right, you're just going to sit there quietly in the corner.
Just to give an idea, but I know Dom, like I say, Dom pulls himself.
Stop this now?
Dom pulls himself down, but if you obviously your viewers will be familiar with the IOM TT, and kind of like how unbelievably fast and scary that place is, and not that long ago, John McGuinness hit the sort of big 130 benchmark, and Dom's a privateer racer there, and finished 10th in the senior TT last year with a lap of an average speed of 129.6 mile an hour.
God, man.
Just off that 130.
That's it, but that's like telling a girl you nearly gave her an orgasm. That's really quite worked, does it? I know. That's it. I know it's a bit of a shock. It doesn't really, you've got. It's.
I thought that was like an urban myth.
Yeah, I know. That's it. I know. It's lies everywhere. Everywhere, but no, it's like my dad's put me ideal set. Like my dad, the man's my hero. He is, but he never comes racing with me.
Does he not?
No, he races motorbikes himself.
But
his exact words were, "Why should I go racing and watch you have all the fun?" That's my dad through and through. And you think, well, fair enough. He sticks to his guns, but he always keeps an eye on the computer. He always keeps an eye on the sector times, and it's always building that potential and seeing, well, if you made corrections there, you'll improve there and everything. But I made a couple of mistakes in that last lap, and the senior last year on the ZX10, we did 129 point whatever it was, and the sectors put together by my dad were over 131.
Wow.
But that, like I say, it's putting that together, and that's an ideal thing. It's like Chrissy's probably, your lap record pace every time you go out somewhere, isn't it? Which is fair enough, but it's always putting that system together. But it's nice to know leaving the Isle of Man, like going, well, we're capable of it. Sorry, like mumbling my words, but be able to go back, and that's where that addiction begins. You think you're on the ferry home, got a face like a slapped arse, going, "Oh, if I only did this and I only did that,"
And that's the draw to come back again the next year.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And you just think, well, if we do this right, we do that right, and that's what keeps drawing us all back.
So, I mean, what got you into road racing to begin with? Was it to do the TT, or did you just
100% to do the
was
TT.
It
was
Mega.
Like I grew up like I've got two older sisters, and trust me, they don't look like me. They're actually gorgeous. To be fair, I'm the runt of the litter without a doubt. But our family holiday was going to the Isle of Man, and that was the Manx Grand Prix, never the TT. And before that was well before the classic TT, and they had classic numbers. Now I remember they've actually removed the scouting board this year.
I couldn't believe they'd done that.
I was devastated, but
why?
They're actually going to replace it though. Now, when the news came out, it was a bit like, we're getting rid of this because of COVID and all that crap. But they're going to replenish it. They're actually going to replace it, and they're going to update it, which is like fair enough. But I remember going to the Isle of Man when they were adding Scaffy on to get the numbers on. There was never like a restricted number.
Right.
And I remember my dad going off down the road at like 117 or something like that. It was like, but the Manx is a club. That's what makes it separate to the TT. Now the TT is run by the Isle of Man government,
right?
So they restrict those numbers like massively due to the speed, like the lap speeds. So I think they're only allowing 73 entries in this year.
Okay.
But a couple of years ago it was over 100. But because the speeds have increased, they've had to shorten the numbers for getting lapped, essentially.
Yeah.
But as far as the Manx Grand Prix was concerned, it was always about, well, getting the entries in. If you can get the clubs in and get the money in, they can make it sustainable. And I remember them building Scaffy on to get the numbers in, and it was absolutely fantastic. And you had the little scouts hanging off, going, "Oh, it's gonna pack in, and collapse on you." And it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Did you get over to watch the TT?
I've done it once. Not done it. I've been once. I did it actually. Sorry to bring my trip up again, people, but it was like the last leg of my trip. After I'd done like Canada and the States, I went across to Ireland, and then from Ireland to the Isle of Man for the TT. Like met up with my missus there, and then did the last sort of leg home after the TT.
So what did you do in Ireland then? Did you do all the road races in Ireland as well?
No. I shipped from New York. Well, I flew the bike by plane, but I shipped it from there to Manchester, and then they put the bike in the back of a van because it worked out cheaper than importing it straight to Dublin. So if you went to Manchester first and then vanned it still worked out cheaper. So I flew to Dublin myself, waited a couple of days for the bike to come, and then picked my bike up in Dublin, and then just rode up through Southern Ireland into Northern Ireland. I went to Joey's bar, just pay your respects,
fantastic.
do all that, just tick everything off.
Now I need to know, was the Guinness that good?
I'm
not going to put words in your mouth.
I didn't drink. I didn't drink there in Joey's bar because I was literally on the bike on the way to Belfast to the ferry terminal to go. So
right.
I'd just done the Giant's Causeway, and I thought I've got to go Ballymoney. So went to Ballymoney and met Linda there, and I think I had a pint of orange or something like that, and paid my respects.
You've gone to the most iconic bar
I know, I didn't
in
have a
Northern
beer.
Ireland, without a doubt, and you didn't even touch like a drop of the black stuff. That is terrible.
I had plenty in Dublin, don't worry about that.
Oh, there we go. But that's Dublin. Oh, yeah, you've let yourself down.
I had about 4
Chrissy,
days.
Let's call this a wrap.
That's
I've
it.
had enough. Let's walk out of here.
I've not been to Ireland. I definitely want to go. I want to go for the road racing, definitely. I've got quite a lot of mates that are right into the road racing over there. So, again, this year was a plan to go, but...
That's it, because sadly road racing is like due to the insurances and everything. Well, look what we've all gone through and everything like that. But road racing is sadly on the decline. There's no point sugarcoating everything like that without serious financial infrastructure injected into it.
Yeah,
it's never. It's struggling.
But that possibly over the last few years, but I think when there was that Closer to the Edge TT movie and a few other things, there was actually a massive surge of in terms of like how big the TT was as an event.
Yeah.
So it maybe like peaks and troughs, but obviously with the COVID thing and like being cancelled this
It's
year,
kicked everything, isn't it, that?
You're referring to like the international events, which is totally understandable,
Yeah.
like the TT, the Northwest, and well, the Ulster. They fell into huge financial problems, and they ceased to exist. Now we actually have a thing on the Chasin the Racin called the rumour mill. Now the rumour mill that I've heard at the moment is that someone has stepped in, exclusive, that someone's stepping in.
All right, to bring it back.
To take over. So we had Mick Grant and Eddie Roberts like stepping in financially to save Oliver's Mount, which is like England's only road race. So hopefully, and what I've been told by a few Irish people, which is great, because let's be like, the very God-fearing people, them Irish.
They never lie.
They don't lie, do they? So the fact that there is hopefully a cash injection to get that event on its feet again, which would be absolutely brilliant. But if you have not been to like any of the Irish events, or any of your listeners or YouTubers haven't been, for God's sake, you've got to go.
I will. I promise I will
You've got to go, because if it does go and you miss it, like what you were just saying about
it won't come back, will it?
It won't come back, and it'll be a damn shame, and you regret the things that you don't do.
Well, we were all booked up to do, me and my mate Fulch and a couple other lads. We were Mark Fulcher. Mark
Filch.
That's his name.
Filch.
Not Filch. Fulch.
Fulch, right, grand.
However,
like I want to know about him.
I'm going to adopt that name now and start calling him Filch.
Hello, Filch. Is he like you, 6 foot something? I better wind me neck in.
He's an ex-miner. He's a big old lump.
Right, grand. I do apologise, son. If you're listening, I do apologise.
We were all booked to go to the TT this year, obviously, so that's all carried on to next year. So we'll definitely be at the TT next year, providing this COVID does one. But I know people have asked about it in the questions, but the old Isle of Wight road race, are you going to be doing that?
I would love to. As far as road racing is concerned, I'll do every event under the sun. Now, what I have been told is that it's an invitation event only, which I think is a very good idea. Because you think, well, it's new, it's exciting. I think if they overload it with people, it's going to be very hard to control and very hard to police. So I think they're going to restrict the numbers of entries to begin with and see how it runs.
Surely you must be on that list.
Well, I'm hoping. I'm just going to throw his name in.
You boys are pretty much...
I'm mates with Chrissy.
You boys are pretty much, the leading racing podcast out there. Certainly in the UK, you got to be.
There's not many to compete with us, to be fair.
I'm glad you stepped in there. Yeah.
But there's
first and the last. No,
there's oh god, what are they called? The chatter.
Front end chatter.
Front end chatter.
Yeah, I don't think that's racing though, is it?
Is that more of the journal lot?
I think so. Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay, I should know that.
dropping hot. There we are.
Yeah.
But no, as far as
you must be on the list for that.
Hopefully I'm, but it's they've hit the ground. Obviously, a lot of work's gone on behind the scene to get this going. And like the thing is, you can't have a conversation these days without saying the word bloody COVID.
Yeah,
can you?
I know.
It's like ifs and buts and ands, a flip of a coin, see where it lands. But until then, we don't know. But I really hope I am on the list. But what I have found out though is that they're not running a super twin race.
All right.
That is utter crap. See, you two have had the same reaction immediately there. Now, for your listeners who were just listening,
what's the reason for that?
Now, I don't know. I have no idea. But what I've been told from me sources from the outside, that there isn't a super twin race. Now, you think road racing in general, like one of my best friends, James Counten's, like sadly lost his life at the Southern 100, but one of his biggest iconic, like many of his iconic moments, was at the Northwest 200. On a super twin.
Yeah.
Some of the best races we've ever had, Ryan Farquhar, we've had Derek McGee, we've had Jamie Coward, we've had Michael Dunlop, we've had super twin racing has always been a proper foundation of it. Now, unfortunately, it's always been the money side of it that's been the difficult side of it. But as far as close-knit, proper, hanging off the edge racing, it's always been super twins. Now, I hope they do change their mind going into that. That's another fresh thing for the rumour.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're definitely having the super bikes and the 600s there, which will obviously, it goes without saying, that'll be fantastic racing. But I think, is it a 12-mile long lap?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Now, I think, when's the last time a road race came on the calendar?
New one.
But that would be as big as news as you lot.
It'll be massive. It'll be massive. There's already so many people saying, "Oh, you go and," like just to spectate. So it's got to happen. Surely it's got to happen.
I've personally never been to the Isle. Have you ever been in the Isle of Wight? No.
I've not. No.
See, there we go. This is a ticket made
Be
in
a
heaven.
huge
This.
tourist thing.
Massive, yeah, because you're not going to get. I don't think it's going to be as badly affected by the weather as the Isle of Man. 'Cause I think it might be better weather on the Isle of Wight.
You'd expect it
You'd
a lot better.
off the south coast.
But also, I think the timing of the year they were looking at was quite late on, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think they were talking about it being in October, like after the last BSB.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a week after the last BSB,
Which is a good thing, really, though, isn't it? It's not going to collide with anything. It's like the end of season bash.
Yeah.
It's that kind. Because normally, like as far as road racing is concerned, it's always been it was the Ulster, but then it became the classic TT and the Manx Grand Prix. It was like after August, it was like, well, there we're done. We had the Gold Cup in September, didn't you? But yeah, as far as hopefully with the weather concerned, the diamond races, fingers crossed and go for
Watch this space.
Have you ever been to Scarborough?
No, I've not. I was supposed to go up for that this year.
The Gold Cup of the Barisheen, yeah. Dom was racing at both of those.
Yes, right,
Good
yeah.
little track, that.
I watched your podcast after that as well. Yeah.
No, God.
Right. The way my podcast works is I post up on social media to say who's coming in, and then people get the opportunity to leave some questions. So we normally go through the questions, but I can
Who's
take.
Dom Herbertson? There's the first answer done. There you go.
You're right about him. No, right. So what we'll do first is I've got a bit of I know you guys got a Patreon to help support the podcast. I've got one as well. So we go Patreon first with my clan, as we call them. So first one is David Hemmings. You've one last race left. Where would it be, and what bike would it be on? To both of you.
I'm going to go with how we started the podcast. I've got fond memories of being a kid riding the KL1S 250 with my dad on.
Yeah.
So if I could do some sort of classic race or whatever on that, I think that would be awesome.
Mega.
If I could pick a circuit to race on, best circuit I think I've ever raced on would be Portimao over in Portugal.
Yeah.
And obviously the Formula One was on there last week, and it was unbelievable to watch an onboard. I think Lewis Hamilton posted his pole position lap as an onboard, and when you know it on a bike, and you kind of know where you should be braking. To watch it in an F1 car, I'm not in F1 at all, but to watch it in an F1 car,
turn one, he just turns.
Yeah, it was unreal. I think the Formula One car was something like 20 or 30 seconds a lap faster than a superbike. It wasn't like remotely close.
Wow.
And there was places where on a bike you're like,
go on then, explain turn one. So we've just taken the piss slightly there because he literally hooned down the straight and then just turned.
Yeah.
So on a big bike, what are you doing?
Well, first of all, going on to the start finish straight, it's a long right hand, and then you kind of come up a lip, and on a big bike you get the front end would go light.
Yeah.
So that's the start of the straight, and I think the F1 cars were hitting almost 190 mile an hour at the start of the straight.
Oh my
literally
God.
insane. 187 I think it was clocked at. But yeah, turn one, it drops the track. So obviously you're properly motoring on 6th gear. It drops down a hill and then into a right hander. So on a bike, you'd nail it. I think it's at the top of the hill. You'd maybe start braking, and you brake for a fair bit, and then tip in and grab the throttle. F1 car, it's it wasn't quite flat, but it wasn't far.
Pretty much
with
flat.
the downforce, the G-forces, it was insane. But that's such an awesome track to ride, but also the location. It's right next. You would go there on holiday, so
it's nice, isn't it?
Beaches, hotels. I've had a few good nights out down that way. So yeah, I would say last race KL1S at
Beautiful Portimao.
I tell you what, I want to jump into that a little bit more now. What's interesting, Chrissy this year, I can't stipulate how much of a good job he's done this. He's done his own engine braking maps, his own traction maps, and everything. Now he gets all that data through the brand new BMW.
Yeah.
So he can actually have a look at brake pressure sensors. So we're talking about that one corner. Now F1 had developed this car just to turn in nigh on flat.
Yeah.
Now on brake pressure sensor alone, I want you to explain to his listeners how much brake are you actually applying? What is the most pressure you've applied?
It's not very impressive at all. If you on the BM,
it's impressive. Now he's downplaying it as well.
I'm bamboozled.
Seriously, on the BM, you can press a button and it brings up a big sort of grid of all the sensors and stuff.
Right.
So you can, as you press the brake pressure, you can see what bar you're pulling This is like not
this is
when
being
you're
a-
riding. This is
when you're mapping.
Yeah,
right.
or like say sat in the garage, and when you think to yourself, oh, like I absolutely nail the brakes like into turn 1, and like say you get like 10 bar or 11 bar. If you actually pull 10 or 11 bar on the lever, it's like not difficult. Like you just don't think you're pressing it hard at all. But if you watch it at trackside, you would see the front end dive, you would see the forks bottoming out, sliding in, and you think, wow, the amount of force you put through
really
the lever.
gripping.
It's not impressive at all.
No,
like,
but I don't got no.
it
Okay,
isn't.
give me the hardest turn, the hardest braking area, the most pressure you put through. Like
I think the
like you've
most
just
I've
explained
ever
there.
done is 16 bar, but that was like breaking up into a hill. So sick, but
16
on like
bar.
a normal corner, you would pull like sort
Pounds
of anything from sort of 7 to 10
Okay.
on a normal like corner. But like if you if you got like a grip test and if you pulled 7 or 10 bar, it's like you wouldn't need to be muscly to do it. Like a child would be able.
But
to
it's
pull it.
significant braking on the bike.
Yeah,
Like you
it's
say, the
I mean,
weight
the skill comes involved like trying to get that fine balance between doing a stoppie, and obviously you need the rear on the ground to be braking and using it as engine brake, but it might slide, so you've got that thing of backing it. I'm not downplaying the skill involved because braking is like
He's
really
not at all,
difficult.
that's
But
hellish
all I'm saying
complicated.
is the actual power involved isn't like
Yeah, the actual finger strength isn't
Exactly,
significant,
yeah.
but the braking is.
Yeah,
But how do you brake on a motorcycle? No, with
As
your
in
hand,
front
with
or
your
back,
right hand.
so-
No, when you hit the front brake, how do you brake? Just quickly.
Gen-
Two fingers.
Yeah, like we call it lemon. In the old bill, it's called lemon braking. So,
Braking.
yeah, like you don't snatch at it. It's lemon.
Squeeze it
gentle,
from there.
really firm, and then gentle
That's
off.
the opposite to bike racing.
Is
So
it?
It like when you start riding at a higher and higher level, you sort of start analysing how you brake.
Yeah.
And the optimal way to brake is to stab the brake, so you get your maximum pressure initially. So if you were looking at it on a graph, it would shoot up and then it sort of fades off like a sort of ski slope into the as you
God.
fade it off as you get to the apex. But one of the things
totally
that
alien to me.
one of the things I've had to work on is because I was braking to like sort of 80%, then gradually going up to 100%, and then fading it back off. And that's something that would be the difference between like a reasonably good rider and an excellent rider. Like if you looked at like Johnny Ray's data, for example, you would see a big stab, and then you
see the 100% right to the apex.
Yeah.
And off.
Yeah, I did a few of the old Ron Haslam days, when they go
Alright.
through your telemetry and stuff. And like I remember I think I had, was it Tristan Palmer was the chap I was out with, and we came in and I'm thinking to myself, oh yes, sign me up. And
Give me the Honda right now.
he overlaid. I think it was Ron's. Just like one of Ron's out having a sandwich runs, and it's totally what you said. Mine was all analog, where I'm gentle on the throttle, off the throttle, and the brakes. And then you looked at like Ron's, and it's just bang on, off. So he's either fully on the brakes or he's on the throttle, and
It's doing it all at once, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like just 100%
Doesn't
off,
commute.
100% on, and while going down the gearbox, trying to aim for a turn.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal. But I tell you what, the reason I was asking how you brake, your listeners and your viewers want to see how he brakes. It is amazing. Show
in
that-
fingers.
No, it's
most
weird.
most
Look at
people
this.
brake with them two. I don't know if the
Lemon
cameras will
braking.
get
Yeah.
lemon braking.
Yeah.
For some reason, I use either them 2 or them 3.
oh wow,
So
well,
like I always keep my index finger on the
On the
throttle
bar,
and
yeah.
then use the others. But
But why though? Explain why. Because listen to this. It's brilliant. This is
I've
why
always
you stop
thought it's
thousand cheap.
like braking, and then as you're getting off the brake, your throttle's already like in. That's
How
the
fast
the
is
theory.
it obviously works.
No, it's one of them things though. Do you know when you stop and you think about it, you just you get everyone has their own style, and then
Yeah.
you just get used to doing, and that becomes your normal. And it's something I've never thought about, but when I've looked at a picture, I've been like, "Ooh, that's weird," but I just do it. Like,
Keep doing it now. You got to keep
yeah.
doing it now. How'd you brake then?
Lemon.
Lemon.
Full lemon, mate. Full lemon.
if you did a grip test with them 2 fingers and then you did one with them 2 fingers, I'm a lot stronger with them 2.
Like funny, I used to brake.
So much I could say, but I wouldn't.
Get on, Babby. Yeah. But I used to brake with all 4 fingers. Yeah, you have to go to YouTube to see why I did that noise.
Yeah.
But No, I used to break with all 4 fingers.
Right.
And then I had a bit of a mishap, and I started a lemon break from that point onwards.
Do tell. What's the mishap? Oh, blimey. Sorry, man, I didn't know.
No, that's it. No, that's
Is that work related?
No, motorcycle racing.
Jeez, was it?
Motorcycle racing. It was a week. It was a week and a half before my first Macau Grand Prix.
Wow.
So I got invited over to this short circuit race called the Sunflower Races.
Right.
It's in Northern Ireland at Bishop's Court, and like they get all the hair gel wankers like in there. And, like, it's a compliment, you know. By the way, if you're listening to what that is, it's like, I would love to be a hair gel wanker.
I'm saying nothing. Look, I'm saying nothing.
I would love to be that good looking and that fast. It'll never work for me. So no, they invite the fast lads, the BSB lads, and they all turn up. So like you had Christian in there, you've had Richard Cooper, Danny Buchan, you've got the cream there. So they all turn up in Ireland. So anyway, I turned up with my own ZX6, and next thing I knew, I woke up in hospital, and yeah, I've actually got it videoed on my phone if you want to see it.
Yeah, go on.
Go on then, right. Anyway, so there's me. I'm like, now you'll be thinking, why on earth has he got it filmed on his phone? Now, my dear mother has always said to us, right, son, every time you go racing, you carry 2 things, your mobile phone and a tenner.
Right.
And she goes, right, the reason you're carrying your phone is if you crash, you don't ring an ambulance, you don't ring Jesus, you ring me first. And I said, what the hell's a tenner for, mother? She goes, well, if you break down at a pub, you can buy yourself a pint. So this is my mother through and through.
I like the logic.
TT rider.
TT, because there's that many pubs around the circuit if you pull up anyway. But so went to Northern Ireland, got my levers on, everything like that, right, but I put my phone in my pocket, and that was the last thing I remember. I can remember I had my dad's at like ER6 there as well. And I woke up in hospital, like, my arm bandaged up and all sorts. And I just thought, and I just went, oh, what bike was he on? He goes, don't worry, it wasn't your dad's bike. I went, oh, my, thank God for that. So anyway, I wrote my own bike off, but like all serious. And so I said, what have I done to my hand? He goes, well, you've butchered your finger. I went, all right, no bother. I said, well, can I film you? Can I film it? And I said, why? We're going to have to cut it off. I said, no, I definitely want to film it now. So anyway. So this is me. I swear down, this is me.
That's him cutting your finger off.
Yep.
You hear the chop.
I tell you what.
And that's the end of that.
Your camera here. Oh, you got to have a sense of humour with these things, haven't you?
Oh my God.
So anyway, your GoPro footage, yeah. Ooh, a bit sick.
That's the end of that.
He's still got his fingers off.
I mean,
it's in my mum's freezer. So anyway, I had this open argument with a surgeon. He goes, well, you can't film it. I said, why can't I film it?
It's my finger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's me. He goes, wait, you can't film it? I said, wait, you're not cutting my finger off then, mate. He goes, well. I goes, look, is the finger going to come off? Yes. Well, I said, well, I want to film it. He goes, well, you can't show it to your friends. I went, well, don't worry, I don't have any friends. Here we are, a couple of years later on a podcast. There you go.
And it's now on YouTube.
It's now on YouTube.
To 40-odd thousand people.
So they cut it off and they put it in this little pot and they put it on the table. I said, can I keep that? And this, like, as quick as the Irish are, the guys, look, son, it's not exactly like the Tooth Fairy. You're not going to get a quid under your pillow. I goes, no, but I want it. It's my finger. Can I not keep your finger? He goes, no, you can't have that finger. There's no way on God's green earth you're taking that finger. It's a biohazard. Obviously, since Victor Frankenstein nicking body parts from the graveyard's been a bit frowned upon. So there's me going, all right, no bother. Crack on. Now, the silly doctor, right, said, right, there's going to be a nurse here in 10 minutes to come tidy it up. Goes, right, no bother. So anyway, the doctor leaves, shuts the blinds, and I just saw my finger on this table. I went, mint, penny up, legs open, finger down, leg shut, penny back. And I'm going, so anyway, so when about 10 minutes goes, and this nurse comes in. She was, I'll tell you what, she wasn't hard to look at either, I remember. So she turns up with a clip, hello, Dominic, you all right? I goes, hi. I said, hi, it's been a hell of a day. And she's looking round. She's tidying things up, and I could see her looking, then looking at me, then looking back at her clipboard, and looking at the table. Then she'd look under the table, then back to looking at me. And I'm going, I can hear the question. So anyway, around about a couple of minutes go by, and she goes, Dominic, have you seen your finger? I said, that's a bit insensitive. I just lost it. So anyway, she dropped it.
Don't tell me you've lost it.
So anyway, she just dropped it. She's legged it off. So anyway, my mate Lauren comes in. She comes in like with me helmet, and I said, like, so I drop this pot of finger and I drop it in the lid, and I said, Lauren, get away with that. She goes, you what? I can't. Like, you're going to have to go with it. She goes, well, what the hell's in it? I said, that's my finger. She goes, I'm not taking that. I said, take the lid, leave the hospital right now.
Yeah,
and she goes, so anyway, she's picked this lid up and she's just hooned it out the hospital. And this surgeon goes, where's your finger? I went, I don't know, mate. I'm not check me over. So anyway, I'm lifting me penny up and all sorts. So
that's not my finger.
Oh no, it's not my finger. It's a bit of a long-winded story, all this, to be fair. But I tell you what, the most heartbreaking, like referring back to my mother.
Yeah.
My dear mother hates one thing, and she lets me, like, you know, every decision I've made has been off my own back. They've never put money into me, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And she hates tattoos.
All right.
Hates tattoos. Now, the day before I lost my finger, guess what I got done?
No.
Half me bloody arm done on the sleeve. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going home and I'm going, oh my God, I've got this tattoo on. So I'm in the van home, missing a finger. Driving the van home, driving the like going with this tattoo on my arm. So anyway, I march up the drive. She goes, hey, hello son, you all right? You all right? I can't see. Yeah, it's fine. It's been a hell of a trip. It's been a hell of a trip. And she goes, I said, Mother, I've got a present for you. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I've got a present for you. Can you hold out your hand, shut your eyes? So anyway, shuts her eyes, puts her hand down. I present her with this finger in a pot, right? It's totally mashed up to shite. So I present her with this pot, put it in her hand. She opens her hand. Now, a proper Northumbrian woman, she just looked at it, didn't shriek with horror, nothing. She looked at it, looked at me and went, do you think that's funny? I said, you think that's funny? Anyway, I revealed this tattoo. She nearly went for me throat. I was like, what are you doing? Oh, that was some crack, that, man.
And she's still got it in her freezer now?
That's still in the freezer. So if we ever get raided by the police again, we've got some explaining to do.
Yeah, explain that one. Blimey. Crikey. Right, we're doing well there. We're 41 minutes in and we've done one question.
Yeah, I do apologise. There you go.
Right, second question then. Matt Jordan. If you were given life without parole and you had to pick one cellmate out of the following people to spend the next 25 years with, who would it be and why? The options are a hormonal Justin Bieber, Begbie from the original Trainspotting, or an inquisitive TMF and his collection of Do you know who TMF is?
I want to know now.
TMF is he's another bike YouTuber, does the same sort of stuff as I do. He's called the Missenden Flyer. He's probably one of the biggest in the UK. He's got like 180 or 190,000 subs. Massive. But he's a thing about butt plugs. Long story.
I'm in.
Can't really go into it too much. So you got Justin Bieber, Begbie, or butt plug TMF.
I know Trainspotting. I have seen Trainspotting, but I don't know
safe
the character.
Begbie, he's the one that he's the nutter. Robert Carlyle, you know Robert Carlyle, the actor?
Yeah.
That's him, it's him. So he's the one where he drinks out his pint, throws it over his shoulder, and it smashes on some girl in the original Trainspotting.
I'll go for that because I think he would be good crack.
Jeez, wow. Okay.
Captain Butt Plugs.
I think he's got more crack there. TMF, he's coming for you. Oh, that's gone out. Why is that gone out? Sorry about that, folks. Slight camera issue. We are back up and running. So we went with Chrissy. You said you'd take Begbie in the cell for 25 years. Good luck with that. And Dom, you went with TMF and his assortment of plugs and gadgets.
It's got to be done, hasn't it? Life's for living.
Speaking of butt
wow.
I want to know where you're going with this.
There's a story.
Drop me in that one. Ask him the most eaten hour in fact.
No, yeah, do.
I better not. I think Dom knows what I want, so he can speak now if he wants.
I've got a feeling, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So
I think we'll leave that one there.
Let's leave that one for another time. There we go.
Would I need to edit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not do that one. Save that for next time.
Yeah. It's amazing how many scenarios I'm going through in my head. There's a fair. I need help, mate. I need help.
There's definitely stories there for later. Definitely. Right, next one. ATCJ5. There we go. I always get this. If Bruce hasn't mentioned that he rode around the world or said he has a GS, don't worry, he will. Thanks very much. Cheers. Would you guys ride around the world, and would you take Bruce with you?
I would absolutely love to that.
Would you?
Absolutely love to. Other than I would miss out the bit in, was it Senegal or so, wherever you would tell
Mauritania.
I wouldn't fancy that. But
Something about getting kidnapped.
Yeah, it's just... It was a really long story, and I'll try and make it as brief as possible because people will be fed up hearing it. The Boko Haram lot, they're the lot that kidnapped the schoolgirls in Nigeria. Do you remember sort of 2012 sort of time?
All right.
Don't know if you remember. There was a big explosion in Central Africa of the Islamic fundamentalist group called Boko Haram. I think it's Boko Haram. But anyway, they had exploded all through Africa, and they'd taken over Mali, which is a country next door to Mauritania. They'd sacked like the famous Timbuktu and all this sort of stuff, and they'd come across and were now starting to come into Mauritania. So the government there flooded the area with police and troops to try and combat that. And there's only two roads in Mauritania, two like tarmac roads in Mauritania, because it's the Sahara Desert basically. So I was going down the far sort of western edge of the desert on the road, and there's just checkpoints everywhere. So I got stopped at one of the checkpoints on the way to an infamous border between Mauritania and Senegal called Rosso, and it's known as the most corrupt border in Africa. And
it's amazing how borders like that survive.
Yeah,
you know,
they
the most corrupt one. Oh, well, carry on amongst the business.
It's a booming industry. And I basically just got set up by the police at this checkpoint. They were working with a gang. So when I got to the border, I got taken away by the gang, and they just wanted money. So they had a bit of fun with me for 3 or 4 hours, got some cash, and then eventually I was through into Senegal and got to Dakar, and I thought, forget this for a game of soldiers, I'm going back to Blighty, and then set off again on the trip from there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with racing, I wouldn't really want to take more than a few months at the moment. But when I'm retired from racing, I think that would be absolutely awesome.
Mate, if it's something you ever want to do, like you don't need to do the whole round the world thing, but if there's something that you want to do, travelling on a bike, just do it, because it's awesome.
I know quite a few people that they take a lorry of bikes out to, I think it's Mazzano, MotoGP. So then you fly over, watch the racing, and then you come back like up through the Alps and whatever. And I've always thought that
sounds hellish.
That would be mega, because you get a weekend racing and
mega,
brilliant, a real good road trip back.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe if further down the line.
Honestly, sorry, go on.
Sorry, no. Have you ever done that Route 66? That's always been a bit. What's that like?
I didn't do the full route from Chicago to like the West Coast, but I did a little bit of Route 66 on my trip when I was coming back across like west to east, and it's some parts of it are everything you think it will be. You know, the road's even got Route 66 painted in the road, and it's iconic, and you go through the odd little sort of town that is living off of the Route 66 tourism industry. But then there's other parts of it which are they're now freeway, they're just motorway now, you know, so
long rides.
That loses it. And then there's other parts of it that are literally dirt track. Like nobody goes. They're on the original Route 66. There's parts of it where no one goes down it anymore. So there's all the towns are ghost towns. There's nobody living there anymore. So there's no fuel. There's nothing. So you have to watch. You've got a plan.
You've got to properly think about what you're doing before you go for it.
I did the North Coast 500 not so long ago. Absolutely
in a van. No, in a van.
In a van. Yeah. But that was
stunning, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is
beautiful,
stunning.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I would like to go back and do that on a bike. Definitely.
Yeah, do. This year, I think most of England was up there this year. There's just a procession of bikes. You know, as soon as lockdown got lifted, people just went straight up Scotland and did North Coast 500. Yeah, for months it was just like the M25 round there. What about yourself, Dom? You fancy a bit of travelling?
I've always fancied that route because of the whole iconic status of it. But I've actually got a Honda Grom for the road.
Nice.
I think the last trip I took, I rode from Newcastle straight up over to Stranraer, got on the Stranraer ferry, and then basically they had a charity do called the Cookstown 100 show.
Yeah.
And they said, we'll give you 250 quid, but that includes your travel. And I thought, what's the cheapest possible way I can go to Northern Ireland? It was 55 quid on the ferry with me and the bike. And that's I think I put 20 quid in the tank, this little Grom.
But how much fun did you have on it?
My arse was killing it. I'm telling you, there was no comfort on that thing. But I'll tell you what, right, it was a proper head turner of a bike. People looking again. I want the die. So I went from Cookstown, I went up to the northwest. I went and spoke to Mervyn White, who's retired from there now, but I went and spoke from there. Then I drove down to Fermanagh on the bike. I did such a round trip on that thing. Brilliant. On a Honda Grom, and to be fair play to Honda, because that thing sat, there's only a 4-speed box in it, 60 mile an hour off its tits on the limiter. 125 of pure fury.
We've just done, there's me and 2 other sort of bike YouTubers, a guy called Richie Vida and another chap from London called Mr. Fish, all weird names, but Mr. Fish and I, he's a tube driver, and he messaged me and said, I've got like a week, 2 weeks off, I fancy going somewhere on a bike, where will I go? And he'd never ridden outside of London. You know, he's ridden in the States, but he'd never ridden outside of London in the UK before. So I was like, Scotland, I'll come with you. Let's go and do Scotland. So he's like, too far, I'm going to do it on the Cub. So I was like, right, I'll get a little 125 from one of the manufacturers. Let's go and do Wales. We'll go to Wales. So we're like, right, let's do that. And then we got in touch with Richie Vida, who lives up in the Peak District. And he was like, I'll get a little Cub as well from Honda. Come to the Peak District and we'll do some of the Peak District. So, yeah, let's do it. So the 3 of us, me and Fish, ended up riding on 125s from London up to the Peak District. Met up with Rich. We did a day's tour all around the Peak District, off-road and going over fjords and everything. It was great fun. And then Rich left us, and me and Fish went across into Wales and did like Snowdonia, and we just met up with some locals down in Wales, and they took us for a spin. It's brilliant. It's a 3-part series on YouTube. So if you've not seen it,
yeah, I'm gonna have a watch of that. That
big
sounds
little
hellish,
adventure. Honestly, it was so much fun. Like I'm 20 stone, Fish is 18 stone, he's 6'3", I'm 6'3". It's the 2 of us on these little 125s, and as you said, I mean, I had this Sinus 125 bouncing off the red limiter constantly, and I'm doing
hundreds of miles.
Maybe 58 mile an hour a push, like downhill with a wind behind me.
That's similar.
It was a scream.
Like we're at Mallory Park right now. Me and Dom have been racing, and it was like a 125 endurance race today.
Yeah.
But it's called a Free Tech Endurance thing. I think it's originated in South Africa, and the Hudson Kenner, who's a previous Superstock 1000 champion, stopped racing on the short circuit, BSB, and he did the TT and stuff, and he's kind of brought the concept of this endurance thing over to the UK.
It's boomed,
and
isn't it?
Do you know what? It's the best bit about it is just going around the paddock, and all of the bikes are like really, really cheap, just sort of put together.
Yeah.
But you can tell that it's been, it's many hours being spent by the lads and ladies, and preparing the bikes, getting them all ready, getting bits, like making sure this fits, and like little, I was speaking to a lad, Ryan, last night, and he'd made a homemade quick shifter, and just using your initiative. And but when we're out racing, like there was 80 odd of us on the grid today, and everyone's there just for the same reason, sort of biking people all together, just having a great time. And
brilliant.
You couldn't have named it any better, because you had BSB stars like him, Tom and Tim Neve. You've had people from all over. You've got male and female straight up from like B&B, like Lizzie Whitmore. We've got like Geordie Fieldhouse. We've got absolutely that many different varieties of riders.
Brilliant.
And quite frankly, no one gave a shite where they finished.
Yeah. Just having a hoot on the bikes.
You were telling me a fascinating story about stroking some bloke's arse that you thought you knew. It was going down the whole straight. Aye. So he's going down wide.
You used to on a straight on a 1000cc bike, pretty much
blink
the whole way down. The bike's wanting to wheelie, and either the electronics are cutting it, or you're physically on the back brake. So you never ever get a chance to relax basically on the whole lap. Where with these 125s, after the first few laps, you get on the straight, and then you've got another 10-15 seconds before you get to the next corner, and it's quite boring, to be honest. So as I was kind of passing people, I thought I knew somebody, so as a joke, I thought I would just tickle his bum as I went past. So I was going down the straight, kind of just tickling away, and then I looked and I thought, ooh, I don't actually know him.
I'll keep doing it.
Yeah, and he got the shock of his life, and then just looked at us with utter disgust, and I just kind of passed him, and then.
So that puts it in perspective how long he had to touch his bloke's arse, this bloke to think about he's getting violated, and then to give him a look. That's how slow the bikes were going down the street. Because bearing up, what can you do round here on a big bike round here? Like,
I'm not sure, but
it'd be, like you're talking
miles
just
off.
over
Yeah,
50,
yeah.
50-second laps. So you're hooning round here today, and we're like banging out 120, like 1 minute 20 laps kind of thing, and you're just thinking you've got enough time to violate random strangers, Chrissy. Fair play, shows the class of the lad.
Oh man, I think my little escapade is going to be boring now. Don't bother watching it. I want to watch this race. Sounded like a
Oh no,
hoot.
we've peaked at violation and cutting fingers off. So there you go.
Right. Next question, Mike Phillipson. Great to have a couple of Geordies on Brew Time. Is the Westgate Road still a mecca for all things motorbike in the northeast? I used to love going round there on a Saturday on my 50cc to watch loads of wheelies up the hill. Which one of you is the best rider and who does the best wheelies?
Well, I'll start by saying Westgate Road is like the main biking road in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So it goes pretty much from the city centre,
Yeah.
and then it's on a big hill. And I remember as a kid going there to get my motocross things, and like you would see loads of people just banging it up on the back wheel, and like noisy bikes and big congregations of bikers out.
Yeah.
Even just you would meet there just to like get a drink and a sandwich and whatever. It's
Nothing like that.
Nothing
now.
like
Is it
it.
not?
Nothing like that
it's-
now.
It's
it's
been
a
really
dump.
depleted,
Oh.
and I mean it's still where the bike shops are, or some of the bike shops, but it's just it's not a patch on what it
Right.
used to be, and it's sort of a bit sad to see really, because there's a lot of kind of barbers and sort of
Salt and pepper.
just
Coffee
like
shops
takeaways
and all that sort
and
of stuff.
cafes and stuff, and so the main bike shops of
Well, it's a proper sign of the times, isn't it? You know, you think the motorcycle culture in general is struggling, if you know what I mean, and it's always keeping that grass. And obviously, what you're doing here is fantastic. You know, keeping that going.
I was speaking to someone about this the other day. Actually, is when we go to the race meetings, so either the TT or like at BSB where I go, there's big crowds to the meetings. Obviously not this year, but usually.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the demographic of the people that are coming, it's very much kind of middle-aged and onwards, and it's kind of worrying for us because
It's biking though, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Seems to be.
And I don't know if that stems from it being really difficult to get your license. I'm finding now just to get my license, it's
not
sort
simple.
of the barriers to entry into the sport is
Which is
quite
the
high.
ridiculous thing, because you're the national like stock 1,000 champion, and yet there's loads of barriers in front of you to ride a bike. And I understand. I think everyone understands why they're making it hard for people to get a bike, especially a big bike, because you can kill yourself really quickly on one. But
What a load of crap.
do you not think?
What a load of shite. It's the person on the throttle. You can
Yeah,
kill
it is.
yourself-
Granted.
You can kill yourself on a 50cc, you can kill yourself on 1,000.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier to do it on
But
a 1,000
piss off,
cc
a
bike.
gun's a gun.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
The problem is, with such a blame culture now, that you've got to hide behind an excuse and find like we're trying to slow them down getting a bike, but yet, you know, any 17-year-old bell end, you know, with a rich mummy and daddy going,
Can
there's
get
an
a car.
Audi R32.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cram the car full of 5 people and not give a flying toss and roll a car and kill several people. But on a motorcycle, it encourages safe behaviour. Now, I've come from a motorcycle family, like me, you know, both my sisters have their bike licences. It makes you a safer person on the road.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about position in a car.
Other people's actions.
Yeah, 100%, because it's actually engraved with us, the fact of like, it's so much dangerous to be on a bike. Yes, that is a good thing. Yes, it's a bad thing. But the putting a physical barrier is just a money-making scheme.
Yeah.
It's 100%, because they're getting 2 tests, because the industry's struggling. They're going, we need to make more cheddar. Right, we'll put 2 more tests in front of people.
I think the knock-on effect of that.
Bit of a rant there.
So, like say if you go to Spain and everyone's whizzing around on, all the little kids are whizzing around on 50s and whatever, 16. There's that culture of biking, which then translates to there's bike racing on at the weekend. So everyone's like has some sort of interest, even if you've just got like a little 50cc. You would then sort of relate to MotoGP because you're both on 2 wheels, and therefore you have an interest, and therefore the sport gets bigger, and it kind of more emphasis on the sport. Where really, if like where we live in Newcastle, there's hardly any people racing, and none of my friends would have bikes on the road. It's very rare you see kids on.
No, you don't. Do
Yeah.
you don't.
When I say kids, like anyone under the age of kind of 30, very very rare to see them on the road.
There seems to be down south anyway. There seems to be
How have you kept your Scottish accent as well if you live down there?
I'm not going to sound like them.
I'm not going to sound like them, damn it. They are. Fair play.
Like down south, there definitely seems to be more people on small CC bikes now, like 125s, 400s, that sort of stuff.
But
that seems to be booming.
You've got the added thing in London as well of commuting. Yeah, exactly.
And I think with COVID as well, a lot of people have gone, I'm not getting on that train anymore. So yeah, they've just gone and got themselves a little bike. And
we had a guy on recently on our podcast from Stolen Motorcycle Recovery London.
Yes, I listened to that one. Yeah.
And that was really interesting because obviously that's another issue. But we'll get into
he actually helped. A couple of friends of mine, they rode little 125cc's from London all the way to Ulan-Ude in Russia in something called the Mongol Rally, which you have to do it on bikes. It's got to be 125cc or below, and in cars it's 1.2 litres or below. Basically, the more shit a vehicle, the better. That's what they want. It's a great laugh.
It sounds like an event straight up my street.
Honestly, if you love that sort, you'd love it. So they did it on these bikes, these 125 Synesis, and Holly had her bike nicked when she came back to London. So I just listened to your podcast with this bloke and I was like, geez, right. So I contacted Paul and Holly and said, have you heard about this bloke? He recovers. So I put him in touch with him and they got the bike.
Brilliant.
Shut up, man.
Yeah, they got it. It wasn't just because of him, but I did a bit of a social media thing on my Facebook and I think they did on theirs and stuff. And somebody that had seen it on social media went, I think I've seen that bike down here. So they went down to these garages and boof, there it was. So yeah, she got a bike back.
There you are. I see the power of social media.
Yeah. He does great work, that bloke, the stolen recovery guy.
It's funny because when we spoke to him, we pictured him to look like you and sound like you, like give us my bike back type of thing, and it wasn't like that.
Listen up,
and
Ken.
he's like very unconfrontational.
Yeah.
It's not like he goes there and his physical presence, scares the criminals to get the bikes back. It's very much like he just kind of goes and gets the bikes.
Hello, yes, I believe that's not yours, dear boy. Yes, if you could return the keys before I rip your teeth out, that'd be most terrific.
But yeah, awesome work in it because it's the I've had a bike nicked from home and it's the worst.
You do live in Burnett
It's like that whole violation thing of someone actually coming onto your property and like taking something that you've worked hard to get and it's the worst feeling in the world. So yeah, it's to be sort of putting people back in with their own property. You must get a right good kick out of that.
Definitely, yeah. Well, sadly, it's a bit of an issue in London, really. So I think it is in a lot of the cities now, isn't it? But yeah, I had somebody try to jack. I was on a GS going into work actually.
God, they must have been in a bad place to jack your GS.
Joe, they're one of the.
We need the money. It's worth the shot.
They're one of the most stolen bikes in London.
Really?
GSs, yeah. Because there's so many of them. Every wanker's got one.
Yeah.
Right, there's another part of Mike's question. Which one of you is the best rider and who does the best wheelies?
Wheelies.
I'm more accidentally put into them.
Yeah, I went to a wheelie school to learn, but I'm still not that good. I can't do a decent wheelie.
I can't do a stationary.
Is it?
To where, like, if you put me on a flat road, 30 mile an hour, when you see these like gangsters in America, it's mint. The skill level's phenomenal. They just hold it up on the back brake and just ride the clutch out. Like me, I think every photo I've ever had on a road race is on the back wheel because it's potholes and bumps and jumps and everything. Everything is just murdering the back brake all the time.
When I went to wheelie school years ago, it must have been nearly 10 years ago, something like that. But there's a proper science to it, and you're the teacher, and then you get all day to practice. And it's you basically go along at say 6,000 revs, and then you press the back brake, which loads the front up, and then I think every 1,000 RPM you move, it's 15 degrees of lean angle. It's 15 degrees.
Jeez.
So you only have to rev it from 6,000 to 9,000, and then you drop the clutch and release the back brake at the same time, and it goes up to 45 degrees. And then you basically just obviously at that point, if you wanted to go further, you just twist the throttle a little bit, and if it starts to drop, you pick the throttle up, and you're basically just balancing it like that. And once you practice it for a while, you'll have loads of your listeners come around trying this now.
What?
It does actually become it. And what kind of really got me into it is you go on the back of this guy and he's just talking to you dead calm and things, and he goes through it, and 3,000 more RPM, drop that, and it just comes up so slowly, and he's carrying on talking to you like you're just like having a coffee, and you're going along at about 60-70 mile an hour, 45 degrees, and he's literally just chatting away to you. And then when it comes to putting down, he just rolls the throttle levers, and it's so controlled and chilled. It sort of inspires confidence.
And then you do it. And
after a full day, I was pretty decent, but I never. This year,
you've got to keep practicing
this year, I mean, the bike I was riding this year is like the build price of it's over 30 grand, and if I crash it, I'm liable for whatever damage I have to pay to repair it. So hence why I've not tried one wheelie.
Even when you're racing,
when I'm racing,
like lads.
Oh my God!
There's only a handful of paid riders, and the rest have got to pay for their ride. Like Chrissy's had to pay to loan the bike this year.
Jeez.
But the build price is like 30. I think. There's a few optional extras, but it's anywhere from sort of 32 to 37 grand for the bike. Yeah, it's mega bit of kit.
That's pressure, isn't it?
So if any of your listeners are multi-millionaires who want to sponsor him and in turn sponsor me, that'd be brilliant.
You pretty much cannot crash for like less than £1,000, because like even if you just do the very basic things, it's £1,000. But you like. Do you know when you see crashing, when it's sliding along and it's staying on one side?
Yeah.
You're like, you're pretty safe at that, because your wheels tend to be okay, your frame, especially if it's not on the exhaust side, that's an added bonus. But you know when you see when you see the bikes dig in, so like say if it hits the gravel
and then it flips,
that's you just it's like every flip's like $5,000 or whatever. It's really, really like adds up quickly.
Like a foot peg, a clip-on fairing, engine guards, clocks. It like you said, you couldn't have put it any better. It's £1,000 a drop. If you took it off the paddock stand, a race bike, and just let go of it, it's £1,000.
Oh my God!
It's a dangerous game. But obviously, you're on a knife. You're on a knife edge, because you're obviously there to do a job. You're trying to improve your skills. You're trying to push beyond where you sort of you're safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
So like anyone could go and race and just be safe and comfortable and stay at the same skill level and be sort of mid pack or whatever, and not take many risks. But if you want to win, you obviously have to step out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
But a crash is so catastrophic financially, and also you can really hurt yourself. So we talk about this, if you're talking about like say tennis or darts or something, you can practice that so much, and the sort of cost of getting it wrong would be you might lose a point or whatever. But with bike racing,
it's a proper financial implication.
It's the same sort of analogy in terms of you're wanting to practice and you're wanting to push slightly beyond your limits and try new things. But when it goes wrong, it's the worst sport in the world.
It's injury and finances.
This is it. Yeah, the consequences are severe in both.
And that's why it's mint.
In terms of when it goes right, it is by far because of all the risk and because you've really put your balls on the line. When it goes right, it's just phenomenal. But obviously, a lot of the time it goes wrong, and you just have to get through those hard times. Yeah. Everyone goes through. Everyone who races has real shit times. Yeah. Sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it isn't, and it's the same. Talking about crash damage, if someone knocks you off, there's no insurance. There's no rules where if it's their fault, they pay. If you go down, you pay for it. So it's just to go on the grid is a risk.
My God, I had a couple of mates, nowhere near your boys' levels, but they took part in the first No Limits rookies sort of.
All right,
I do a bit of No Limits.
Did you do that as well?
I do No Limits for practice.
Right, got you. Yeah, they basically. One of the boys had always wanted to race and had never done it. So when I went away to do my trip, he was like, I'm going to race. I'm going to get into racing. And it just coincided when No Limits started the sort
Kick-off,
the newcomers rookie, just in you come. So when I came back, they were racing at Brands. So first weekend I was back, I was like, right, I'll go to Brands and watch you race. And they managed about another 2 or 3 seasons, I think. But even at their level, man, it was costing them like £1,200 every weekend on tyres, on fuel, on everything like that. You know, and you're like, and then
scratching the surface.
This is the thing. And as they got better and faster, they started crashing, and then obviously the crashes start costing a lot of money, don't they? And you buy better bikes, and that costs more when you crash them, and so they don't race anymore.
It's like anything
Mary
where
Poppins handbag, never ending.
Once you get bitten by the bug, it's like that thing what Dom was talking about, the TT. You're desperate for more, and your whole life becomes around that one thing. Yeah. And you see people who have got no money and whatever, but they manage to get to the racetrack, whatever, like somehow.
By hook or by crook, then.
Exactly. And it does just grab a hold of you like that. And to me, there's no better way of living for me in my preferences. Going from racetrack to racetrack, week to week, trying to get better, get faster, get results, and with your little team. And for me, there is nothing better.
How do you fit it in? I mean, you're a school teacher by trade, aren't you? So how do you fit that in round
so I
the
only
job?
work part time, so I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the classroom, and then pack this trailer up and get away racing on the weekends.
Brilliant. I mean, the kids that you teach, they must know what you do they?
Yeah, quite a few of them. Obviously, with like for example, before this last round out, we've got Look North. You'll have like Look South, or
right?
Look North on BBC. So I a few interviews on that, and, like on the radio, and obviously all my races are on TV as well.
Yeah.
So that is
it. Got to be like the coolest.
I
think I don't watch TV, man. I ain't got time. People will be they'll be sick of hearing this, but I literally spend my life editing or out on the bike, so I'm living my dream, really.
Tonight on Looks.
But yeah, I absolutely love it.
What do you teach?
Maths.
Are you?
Geography.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, I did. A few years ago, I did a maths degree at Newcastle Uni, and then I went into teaching straight after. So
good on you.
Done a few years, and like you said, the kids know, and or some of the kids know. Some of them are interested, some of them aren't. But I kind of just keep them totally separate, and with busy with that when we're in the classroom.
God, I bet, yeah.
But it is a bit weird. I feel like I've kind of got a double life a little bit. Where it's almost like almost like an actor playing the role of a teacher and a responsible adult, and then I kind of take my suit off and park that, and then I put on my leathers, and like the fun part of the week begins.
I saw the picture on your Instagram after you won the title. You're in your full sort of suit there with the cup. It's brilliant, loving it. Nice one. Right, next question. How are you guys for time? Are you okay for time?
I'm absolutely fine.
Sure.
I think we've got a Domino's coming, but after that,
right. Next question. Tony Rolls. Hi all, big follower.
On. That's one of our
patrons.
There you go.
Tony lad, how we doing? There might be more than one, but if it is, there you go.
Let's see what he says then. Here we go. If you all had to swap jobs with each other, whose would you take and why?
I would definitely take yours. 100%.
Would you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no one wants my job.
I had a mate that used to be a tree surgeon, and on my days off, your
key work there was used to be. What happened to him? Carry?
I don't know what happened to him. He was a really good mate, and then I lost touch with him. I just lost touch with him, and I don't know what.
He went insane. That's why, mate.
I do
jumped off the cliff.
At times I would think, it would be great to be like, especially on a nice day, like up in the forest and whatever.
Yeah.
But the amount of driving that Dom does up and down the country, and the hours, and he comes around mine, and my mum's picking thorns and ticks out of us, whatever. And I just think fair play for doing that for a living, because it is proper hard.
I just used to do it because it was in the days when I actually used to go to the gym. It was a bit of a workout, because I was basically just the groundsman for him. He'd be up the tree chopping the stuff down, and then I would just feed it into the chipper.
Aye,
and it was great. I used to love it. Take a tree and straight through the chipper. But I was fucked at the end of the day, and like you're saying, he's doing it every single day.
Things you got to do to pay the tyre bill. It's a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, I bet.
But no, like you say, it's like, when you talk about like additional training and everything like that, you just think, I get home at night and I'm just going, the last thing I want to do is go to the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not working hard enough if you want to go to the gym.
I tell you what, I know how we're speaking about cost and stuff. So at the Isle of Man TTs, over 2 weeks, you get a week practice and a week race. And if you... all the lads race in like various classes, so you'd have like a twin, a 600, 1,000, whatever. Yeah. If you go to the TT and you pay for all of your tyres, estimate the cost of a tyre bill for one TT.
Oh my God. What's it, a set of tyres every 2 laps, is it?
A rear every 2 laps.
Oh my
practice,
God.
You can stretch it out. Like, practice is not so bad, so you can get like around about 4 laps and stuff like that. You try and stretch it out.
I can't even.
Just pick a figure. Just think.
Jesus. $5,000.
6.5 grand.
Oh my God.
6.5 grand on
24 litres every 2 laps on
is
a
it?
big bike of petrol. I don't even think about that.
Wow. Oh
Literally,
my God.
And I can't even afford race fuel. That's just straight down to the local
Is it?
SO. Just straight down.
You did 129 mile an hour average on just like
SO.
out,
Tesco fuel.
Honestly, out the pump job,
God, man. Wow. So
Like race fuel can give you like on average like a brake or like 2 brake, you know. It's everyone says it gives you 5 brake horsepower more. It doesn't. It gives you, but it's a cleaner, safer fuel and everything like that. So
how many sponsors do you sort of accrue then to get you through the TT?
It's kind of an accumulation throughout your whole career, really. You're always picking things up. And Dom runs a supporters club called the 130 Club. It was designed for this year, so that
it was the first time it was going to go was this year. But it was like
the sort of aim was to get the 130 mile an hour, and to do that, he needed financial support. So he opened it up to like Club 130 members.
Yeah,
and you could chip in 130 quid, and you get like all the clothes and like a supporters pack type of thing.
Yeah.
And you get put into a special group where you can like get weekly updates and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And that obviously things like initiatives like that to raise funds for like tyres and stuff.
Well, if you've got for the both of you, if you've got stuff like that, let me know the links. And folks, I'll put links. If you listen to the podcast, there'll be links to all their socials and all this sort of stuff. There'll be links down below. And if you're watching a YouTube video, check out the description because it'll all be there. Let's try and help the boys out here.
Awesome, thank you very much.
No problem, no worries. I mean, it's an insane amount of money, isn't it? And as you said, I've met racers who are literally like sleeping in the back of the van, and that's how they get by. They just literally go from circuit to circuit, don't they, in the back of the van, and everything goes on their racing.
Oh yeah,
crazy. Right, Tony, what else did he ask there? Bruce, would you let Dom take you pillion round the TT on your GS? Mind the peacocks on the way around. Yeah, I definitely would. Yeah,
do you know the peacock crack?
No, go on.
Right. God, that sounded a bit seeded, didn't it? Read about my peacock, young'un. There you are. So, no, it was a case of I tipped in Greeba Castle, and I think only 10% people actually believe me, but as true as I'm sitting here chatting shite with you, right, I'm tipping in. Like you're doing 180 mile an hour, you've just come off Ballagary, you're back to 5th, back to 6th, driving, tipping in the Greeba Castle, off the throttle, back 2, load up the front, tipping in. What do I see? Fucking great big peacock.
On the circuit?
No, on the apex, young'un. On the apex of tipping in, right? Your full lead angle, on the brake gun. Well, today's my day. You know what I mean? I'm tipping in, right? And I just went, wait, you couldn't, if you over squeeze the brake on that lean angle, I'm going into the wall, right? If I roll the throttle too much, I'm going to hit the apex too early. Everything like that, I'm going in, right? And I kid you not, this peacock looked me straight in the eyes and went, have a go if you think you're hard enough, son. And I'm just tipping in, and I like on this microphone, it must be.
Wow.
Past this peacock, I mean, a midge's dick between a flag cable would have fitted between where boom, 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 straight off. I came in, right, 6 laps you do, 2 pit stops, 2nd pit lap, I nearly hit a peacock. Graham was filling up my fuel, just looked at me and went,
breathe more oxygen, son.
That's pretty much it. He just looked at me and went, shut up, man, just get on with the bike. You know what I mean? And no one believed, like, to this day, it's been like a running joke from, because how long's the podcast been going now?
From like mid-70s, we'll do one a week. Beginning of 2019, I think we started.
2019. Ever since then, it was quite an early on thing, wasn't it? And it was just like no one still believes us, but it was just this. But this peacock, it haunts my like. If I wake up in shrieks of horror, screaming like a peacock, like shrieks of horror. It's no, it was that was a hell of imagine that he lies Dominic Herbertson.
Yeah, I know.
Peacock.
Wow, what a way to go.
Wouldn't it just? But no, if you ever, I'll tell you what. Like speaking of pillions, the name will come back to us. He's a professional boxer, Carl Frampton. Carl Frampton, professional boxer, is the exact same size and build as a racer called Lee Johnson.
Yeah.
He's from Fermanagh, Northern Ireland there. And he's won TTs, he's won Ulsters, he's won the lot. And he took Carl Frampton round the Ulster Grand Prix on a BMW, not even like a road going one. They put pillion pegs on his Superstock 1000 bike.
Jesus.
Closed roads, no one else but them two. Now, the thing that built up into that tension of a scenario was the fact of them two sparred like prior to this. So you can imagine Carl Frampton giving a dab to like Lee Johnson nearly knocking him clean out all the time for a laugh. So Lee Johnson totally seized the opportunity to scare the living shit out of a sheer
Can you hear him screaming?
Oh God, you can imagine. So you're going in the Leafham's town. He must have gone easy into that. He's come around the first corner and he's just totally lit it up to Deer's Leap. Now Deer's Leap is 5th gear, drop off the face of the planet turn, and you've got someone in the back and he just went,
oh my God.
Carl came back as white as that shark lid. I'm telling you. I remember pulling in, looking at it, and I just thought, I would absolutely love to do, like, give that opportunity to someone to scare the living shite out of them. So if you're up,
I'll be up for it. I'll be up for it.
Right? Here they are.
I'll be there next year.
He's quivering while he's saying this. I'm we'll have a chat with Paul Phillips and TT.
Yeah,
that would be, wouldn't it? There you go.
Right, let's do it.
Right, I'm 100% behind it. 100%
right. We'll do it.
Parade lap, TT. I think it's like 200 quid or whatever it is. We'll get a bike, put some pillions on it.
Do it my GS if you want.
100%. I'm 100% behind that.
At least that'll only do 140 top speed. That's it.
We'll get a bit more sings out of that. I'm telling you, it'll be grand. But would you do a pillion with Chrissy on a short circuit?
Jesus.
Now that would be tasty.
A lot less scary.
You think?
100 what? Then going on the Dom at the TT.
Going on.
Yeah, but my oh god.
What are you trying to say, Chris?
I know which I would prefer.
I know what if my missus is listening to this, she'd be like, "You get your life insurance in place before."
I'm just sitting there counting the folds already. Go on, Herbertson, I'll cut you in half.
Just sign it here.
He's off the back.
Said, yeah, I'm up for that. I'm up for it.
Fantastic.
Let's do it.
Let's get magic
oh my
happens.
God.
I'm 100% behind this. That'd be such a giggle. That.
See what you started there, Tony.
There we go. Cheers, Tony.
Right. Pete English. Now, Pete has a bit of a reputation for dropping some pretty far out questions. So let's see what he's asked this week. Hi guys, hope you're all fitting well. Question: What 2 questions would you ask your motorcycle hero if you ever got the chance to meet them, past or present?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, to be honest, we're actually in the fortunate position with the podcast that we are actually interviewing our heroes.
Yeah.
We had a day at John McGuinness's house.
I listened to that
was
one.
kind of surreal. Like, even just being in his company for me is surreal. But to like sit down and like,
me calling John McGuinness a paedophile was pretty good.
Yeah, that interview.
Obviously, he's not. Right, let's tidy this up.
That interview began with
Dom, a bit of crack.
Dom drawn an analogy between, between. John's got like a sort of a motorcycle playground in his garden.
Yeah.
So he kind of said, Neverland, Michael Jackson, like you're sort of the Michael Jackson of bike racing, apart from you don't touch kids. As far as like an opening of an interview, exactly. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the what question would ask. Just it's just nice to sit down and just sort of go back and forth and sort of. For me, I like to find out about the early life and kind of getting into racing and stuff like that. But nothing sort of stands out.
Mm-hmm. But to be fair though, they're all on the same page, and it was like Josh Brooks was like a big shock. Like Rob Mack,
he seemed really decent. Josh Brooks,
brilliant, wasn't he? And I think. My favourite thing about this is like I am 100% a million mile an hour behind Chrissy, so you like he knows a lot more in depth about them and their successes and their careers. And what I almost pride myself on within the podcast is sitting there as a regular bike fan, but not knowing anything about them. So I almost ask the questions
that your everyday fan might.
Well, I potentially
would ask,
if you know what I mean. So, but it's like a huge shock, and like what's good is. I saw Josh Brooks at that particular interview was like, he seems like a bit upfront, a bit of a dick, really. And you're thinking, all right, what's going on? But
do you mean before the interview?
Before the interview, sorry. But
just
then I just to clarify. But then actually getting to sit there, and like the good thing is, what they seem to get different from other interviews is me and him race bikes.
Yeah.
And you seem to get such a different interview compared to other people.
For me, I think it's the time and
yes,
with the not being time restraints, they can really kind of relax. And after 20 minutes of kind of the sort of introduction questions, you almost forget the microphones there.
And then it just becomes a chat then,
exactly
doesn't it?
like this. And,
amongst mates and peers and
exactly,
that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's it. But you all have the same passion, and it's good like to actually get there. Like your guests, they get an opportunity to get their side across, and I think that's a very rare thing, and I think that's what's good about this world now. It's like trying to play the social media game. It's difficult. But having those opportunities, not many people get them.
That's what I love about the podcast format, this long form format, because like social media now, YouTube especially, they say people, you basically have, I think it's now 5 to 7 seconds to grab people's attention in a YouTube vid. Yeah, and then if they don't like what they see, they just click onto the next one. So that's why a lot of YouTube vids are like bang, 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 both changing, changing the camera angles, lots of stuff going on. It's just to constantly keep people's attention. And I kind of do it to an extent just on my on-bike stuff, because I change the camera angle, I'll jump cut my edit to try and keep things moving along at a pace. Whereas with this, some of my podcasts have been 3 hours long because you just sat chatting away with people, and the sort of the contrast between the two, you couldn't get a bigger contrast, could you? But this is, to me, this is normal, isn't it? It's just a conversation with people, and I think a lot of people don't get that chance to see that side of, like Josh Brooks, John McGuinness. They don't get the chance to just sit and listen to somebody talk for an hour or however long it is.
Exactly, yeah.
Dribble on about shite. It's
Yeah.
isn't it?
You're saying
It's pub crack, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
why I like, you try and aim at that, don't you? It's
Absolutely,
the pub crack
yeah.
side of things.
You're saying about McGuinness. I've seen him a couple of times. I've never actually met him. I've seen him a couple of times. But he was at Brands. I was at a Bennett's track day back in July on the tractor, and McGuinness was there. And he was literally as close as you guys were. I couldn't bring myself to go and say hello. I was just like, it's John McGuinness. I was like, I can't say anything. And everyone had said to me, because he was in my vid, he's like in the background of one of the vids I did, and they were like, just go up and say hello. He's the nicest bloke you'll ever meet. And I was just like, it's John McGuinness. I can't do that.
But no, but like it is surreal doing that, because like we've gone like meet people, and it's surreal that they just invite you into their homes, don't they? And like, hello, you all right? And you're sitting in John McGuinness's living room going, this is a bit surreal, like, isn't it? You look up to these people your entire life. It's like, we recently interviewed like Rob Mack. What an amazing experience that was. You just turned up, plugged this trailer in, and you just had the crack, didn't you? It's like, this is just totally nuts, man.
What got you into the podcast then? What made you start it? Your fault.
Yeah,
Totally.
probably my fault. I listened to quite a few podcasts, and at the time there wasn't many sort of bike racing podcasts, and me and Dom we're both sponsored by a club which is it basically works where we have guests, and it's not recorded as a podcast, but it's just to a small crowd.
Yeah.
Get sort of famous biking people in, and all the money that's raised gets redistributed to the local riders.
Right.
So it's kind of a very similar format to the podcast, but it's like a live event up in North Allerton, sort of in the northeast. So I guess
definitely worth coming to if you ever fancy, if
Yeah,
you're
I'll be
ever
up
on
for
the
it.
bike and
Yeah.
the North Yorkshire Road Racing Supporters
that's
Club.
it. And
I get that out there.
I guess that was kind of like the intro, and then we didn't really have we still don't have like an end goal. It's just very much like we started
See where it
sort of,
goes.
recording it without the video, and then we've kind of added that in, and then we've got the studio, and then we're just building it up sort of organically, and we really enjoy doing it. It's we try and get one out once a week and meeting new people, traveling around, learning things.
Everyone, when they listen to my podcast, everybody goes, "Oh, have you heard the Chasin the Racin one?" So
Block it.
do you know, in 70 episodes, you guys have done phenomenally well. God, it's fantastic. Gents, there's 2 more questions on Patreon, and I'm aware of the time, so we just call it quits after those 2 then, because I know you've got Dominoes to get, haven't you?
Oh, God, aye.
Also, we're at Mallory, and there's a car track day on tomorrow, so I think the bike racing lot will be getting kicked out. So yeah, we might be under a bit of pressure from them.
No worries. Right, I'll be quick as then. We've got 2 more here. Peter Hamazed, he's a mate of mine, and I can never pronounce his surname. Hamidzadeh. Pete.
It's Mohammedzadeh, is it?
Hamidzadeh. Teacher, you see.
I only know that because, well, I won't go into it, but yeah.
Right, well, Pete's asking, hi all, firstly, big congratulations to Chrissy, well done on P1. Love both podcasts, so it's great to have you together for this one. Question 1, in your respective fields, race series, riding groups, if you were to take one of the other riders' girlfriend, partner or wife as a pillion, whose would it be?
I don't have a...
Josh Brooks' missus. Next question. Go on, let's...
Do you want to think about that?
No, not at all. God, Bennett.
Cramp.
You brought that up in the actual podcast, I remember.
That's factory.
You were saying that to me.
Yeah.
That's factory.
Liz Hurley, if not.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she's not God, please, Liz, if you are listening, I know you are because you're a bit of a deviant, aren't you? But go and marry a motorcycle racer so I can answer that question again. Elizabeth.
I've got to pick another rider's
Minx.
missus to take for
Partner or wife, yeah.
That's a great one.
Or husband or whatever in between.
I'm struggling with that one, you know.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Probably
You were straight in there.
Oh, God, I'm getting there before he does. So you can.
To be fair, Josh Brooks' missus is definitely up there.
It's not going to sound right, but it sounds like there's a cue for
The thing
me.
is, she's actually absolutely amazing. You know, she's sat there, hello, you all right? And everything.
Yeah.
Just such a lovely person. You think, damn it.
I'm literally racking my brains.
Let me just get my black folder out.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? What had that?
You're getting worried because you're
Malcolm Landry's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go Malcolm Landry's.
Set your sights.
What about yours?
I think Malcolm
Now that we're getting
No,
in
it's to
trouble,
you two.
have a
It's
word
to
with
you
yourself.
two.
I know you're
I'd
married.
have to take my wife, obviously.
Oh, you! How are you, creep?
I think Malcolm Landry's missus used to be like a Playboy.
Yeah.
And if any of your listeners want to check it out, it's on Instagram. I can't remember her name, but if you go Malcolm Landry's,
You can't, but you won't say it.
Then all will become clear.
There we go.
Right,
There
okay.
we go.
Question 2. If you could ride any bike on road or track, what would it be and why?
we'll miss Mike Norbury's missus as well.
Yeah, he's got Mike. Oh yeah, they are straight in there. Like you've got the proper hots for her. There, she'll be listening to this now in the gym, going, "I knew it, Chrissy. I knew it. You were going to say it eventually. You had it in you, boy."
Sorry, I missed the question.
I forgot
I'm
it.
thinking
There we
about
go
Megan.
again. Yeah. If you could ride any bike on road or track, what would it be and why?
I mean, I kind of already answered with the Kelness thing,
Yeah.
but if I had to pick another bike, it's a difficult one. Obviously, in terms of like realistic goals for next year, I'm obviously wanting to move into the superbike class,
Yeah.
so I guess it would be a superbike. But like an iconic superbike, probably maybe. Well, the Ducatis have been pretty dominant over the last few years. I would love to just see what the.
Could we see you in red maybe next year?
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid.
That would be good.
Well,
wouldn't it?
I've got to be fair. I've got nothing sorted as yet, but I'm pretty sure all the red seats have been taken.
There we go.
What about you, Dom?
No. As far as like the iconic, I'd love to race, like a Ducati. Like I'm not just saying that because you've said it, but like one of the Ducati V4s would be absolutely amazing. But one of the biggest outstanding bikes I've ever seen in my life was there was a company called Ambler Engineering. It's two brothers and one son based out of Carlisle. Now Chris Ambler, I mean, he's a pornographic welder. I mean, it is phenomenal what he can weld. He does everyone's like top end engineering firms welding work for their tanks, subframes, swinging arms, the lot. And I remember going to his mother's house. I think I was only 18. And I had my little blue Citroen Relay and went to his mum's house. And down this alleyway was one of the original Harley Davidson Buells. Like one of the original flat track bikes. There was only 4 of these ever made out of Harley Davidson. And he had one. Like this guy based in, I can't remember where it was, but these were one of the 4. And he showed me all the printing work. And this is in an alleyway in Brampton, like propped up against the wall.
Oh,
and a
man.
little cushion just propped up against the wall. He said, "There's only 4 of these in the entire world," and I kid you not. And Chris, like who did all the welding, he built this tank, and everything on it was bespoke. You know what I mean? Anything. And this thing is an actual piece of history. This is when Harley thought, we're going into the racing scene, we're going to really make a stamp. And it was just absolutely gleaming. And the fact that this was in a clapped out house in the middle of the Cumbrian countryside was phenomenal. And I remember looking at it going, I want to go on it. I know what this thing's worth. This thing's worth millions.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of them priceless moments. You think this bike is forever made. You couldn't put a tag on it, and I just remember going, "Should we just bump it over and just howl it up the street.
Is that more your sort of scene then, in regards to like street bikes? Are you more for the classics or the sort of the cafe types? Or
No, not at all. I just think it's because it's an iconic piece of history rather than anything. You know, I've been very lucky that I've raced I've ridden like Agostini's John Chapman's Agostini MV Augusta, you know, £250,000 worth of bikes. I've ridden Honda 4s, I've Honda 350s, I've ridden all kinds of varieties of bikes, and so has my dad. But you just look at this and here. It's like the Bluebird, you know, that speedboat, the Bluebird. You think, how many opportunities do people get to touch this, never mind ride it, you know? And I think that would be my bike without a doubt.
Speaking of like road bikes, I think if I had to, I don't think I would probably get a sports bike if I had one on the roads.
No way.
I think I would end up killing myself. It's just not a very comfortable riding position. A few years ago, I was working with a lovely lad from Owens.
Lovely man.
Yeah, and he's called Sam, and he's got him and his family have got a business called Mint Customs. I don't know if you've came across them on YouTube. They've got quite a big YouTube following,
right?
But they build like sort of bespoke, custom sort of cafe racer types. And I've always thought if I was going to get a bike on the roads, I'd
go for one of them.
Go for something like that I could get out and enjoy. Comfortably, and I would quite like to like pull up at a cafe and for people to be like, wow, like that's a one-off, like I've never seen one before.
I know what you mean.
I kind of like
it's
that.
A bit like when you turn up at a cafe on a GS, everyone's just like, I've never seen one of them before.
Just knickers dropping, just yes, I've arrived.
You just get a chorus of, oh my God.
That's it.
Thrown underwear at you. I know.
I get it all the time. There you go.
Oh yeah, day-to-day occurrence. That.
I've got a part 2 answer to that.
Go on.
That question, right? Someone jammed a Ducati 1200cc engine in a Honda Grom. It's on the internet. If you just type it in Honda Grom Ducati engine conversion, and you just think, shits and giggles per mile.
Wow.
It would be worth every second of it. The brake, it's a single-sided brake disc, man. You'd warp the disc trying to stop that. But I tell you what, imagine pulling up at the lights like that, lifting the visor, just going...
The noise
Slips.
off that thing.
Fancy racing for slips. It'd be off and away. It'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
So if you're listening, whoever owns that bike...
I'm telling you, Google that Honda Grom like engine conversion or something like that. It's like people have jammed like 250 two-stroke engines in them and like fully done like the lobster welding on the exhaust and everything. The Grom scene.
There's the Grom scene's massive, isn't it?
It's serious,
huge.
man. Especially in Asia and America, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. But there we go.
I've never ridden one. I want to try.
I should have brought it down, There you go. You would have looked, trust me, you'd still look more ridiculous on your GS.
Thanks.
There'll be a queue of GSs outside of Burnetfield, Durham for the next recording. Are you taking the piss? Sorry, lads. It's all a bit of crack.
They're all accountants. Don't worry about it. GS riders, all accountants. Right, last question. Alex Bentley. Hi, all. Hi, Alex. Being a massive TT fan, I followed the rise of Dom since his appearance in a YouTube video, I watched that last night. God, that's weird. That came up on my YouTube feed last night, the People's Race. And I was like, what's this?
The People's Race?
Yes, it's one about a TT, 2015?
Oh, the religion of sport thing?
Yeah, the father and son on a bike, and they filmed it, and you're in it, loads. You're being interviewed loads.
Right.
I think it's after the TT, and you're still in your leathers next to a motorhome drinking. I don't know if it's cider and black or something, but you sat there.
Oh my God, that video! Yeah, that's a total different video. All right, no bother. Carry on.
I've never seen this.
Oh God, I was hoping that one would disappear in the dark.
Oh please
God!
Yeah.
Stop googling.
He said, obviously a real character in the paddock. Are you planning? Oh, we covered this. Are you planning to do the Isle of Wight road race next autumn? What are your thoughts on the circuit? If it goes ahead, what are your objectives for the TT, lightweight, podium? You went really well on the Super Twin at the S100 last year, and he'd love to know.
Oh, definitely. No, as far as like the Southern 100 was concerned, it was I was riding for the Dafabet team, and the bike was absolutely brilliant. And last year I got the race in the memory of one of my good friends, James Cowton. His dad put me on like their family bike, to continue the name for James, and they've wished to continue that on leading into the next year, which is it's an honour that I've never taken lightly. And no, it's a big part of me, that it really is. And like together, they've built a fantastic brand new machinery. It's not the ER6, it's the new Z650 Ninja.
Right.
So it's a lighter frame, better turning, better adjustment, the more upgraded engine. So the capability of getting up at the front is more than doable, and it's about just putting it together. And lucky for me, he doesn't know it yet, but I've got a cracking mentor to teach me how to actually put my finger out my arse properly. So you know, and Chris has always been there for us to try and push me on and more get my mind set. You know, he knows I can do the job. It's just about getting there, and I want to try and focus a little bit more on the shorts to get better at the roads.
Okay, right, yeah.
Just, you know, that's not all like fresh news for anyone, isn't it? You know, you need to get better in a safer environment like this to push forward in the future.
Yeah.
And the Counting team are 100% behind that. And I think together we can really push for top fives and hopefully get on on the podium.
Awesome.
Which would be, God, imagine me on the top of the podium. There'd be nothing classy about that whatsoever. I'd be screaming Captain Butt Plugs. This is a shout out for you, son. TMF, whatever you are. So there you are. Well done. Far from classy.
You've got to meet him.
Oh, God, I don't worry now. He'll be punching me right in the nose.
TMF, honestly, he comes across in his vids. Well, not so much now. He's lightened up a lot. But he very much came across
Was
as
he boring?
People did think he was boring. And before I met him, I thought he's not going to be, you know, the type of person I would normally socialise with.
Yes.
Because he comes across as an accountant, really, that's on this bike and, oh, hello. It's not as bad as that.
Straight-edged.
But he never speeds, and he's very
Square.
matter-of-fact, and he'll make a list of everything, you know, and you'll go through.
Hell of an accountant.
But when you meet him, he's the polar opposite. He's an utter deviant. He's such a laugh. He's such a scream. So obviously I've known him for a year or two now, and there's sort of four of us that hang around together like YouTube types, and we've been away and doing trips and stuff. And like when the beer comes out, there's just this utter animal appears, and he lets slip. At the start of lockdown, we did a podcast on mine, and he let slip that whenever he does a video in his garage or in his sort of home studio, his office, he'll have a butt plug somewhere in the background.
Up, man.
Yeah. And we were like, no way. And he says, yeah. And he leant back because he was zooming from like a Zoom call in his office. And he's like, there, it's here now. And he just leant back and grabbed it. And we're like, oh my God. And it's like marketing genius, because everyone's gone back through all his old videos
to see if it's there,
and watching all of them to see where it is. So it's just become this ongoing joke now.
Fair play to that man. Hey, use your strengths, even if it is a sexual device. But fair play.
He's a great laugh. He really is a good giggle.
Good lad.
Right, lads, I've taken up more than enough of your time. Thank you so much. That's like about an hour and a half, I think we've been going here, an hour and 40 minutes.
1 hour 45, I think.
1 hour 45.
There we go.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Before I end, is there any shout-outs you want to give? Any sponsors you want to give shout-outs to?
On our social media, Chasin the Racin, we use the @motorbike pod. So that's on like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We've been pushing the YouTube a lot more recently because we didn't. When we first started going, it was just all audio, and then we had the social media to sort of promote it. But since we've started filming them, I think it gives an extra angle.
Definitely.
For people. So
plus he's got a good-looking face, so it's all right.
Pushing that. But yeah, that's our social medias.
Awesome. So all the links for that will be down below, folks. So make sure you give them a subscribe, a follow, a like, all the rest of it.
We're on Patreon as well @motorbikepod. Same again.
Beautiful.
He's good. He's getting fluid at this, isn't he?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, Patreon, it gets a lot of abuse, doesn't it? A lot of people slag you off whenever you mention Patreon, but it's been a lifesaver for me. It's literally, kept a roof over
doesn't run on fresh air, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't run on fresh air.
It runs a two-way street as well, because obviously you're providing content that people enjoy, and people
that's questionable.
And people can give a little bit back to support that. And
Definitely.
It's a catch-22. Really,
absolutely, yeah. So if Patreon's your thing, check out the links down below, and I'll put links there to the lads' Patreon there as well.
Awesome.
Very kind. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no, congratulations again on the title, and can't wait to watch you on the TT.
The back.
Oh God, yeah, on the back. I forgot about that for a second. I forgot about that.
Well, safe
what have
trip.
I agreed to?
Safe trip back on the GS.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Cheers,
Cheers.
boys. Right, folks, as always, it looks like we're going back into another lockdown, but whatever, what can we say about it? Folks, keep on doing your thing, look after those that you love, get on out there, and most importantly, live your life. Woo-ah.